here we are, just outside the castles of Babolat, where King Berkey and his little jester Badger like to stroll around, looking at board games that were planted in the years gone by, and seeing which of these are still standing in the woods of Evergreen.
Hey, hey, hey! It's the Berkey and the Badger doing our segment, The Woods of Evergreen, talking about games from 2009 that we think stand the test of time.
Yep.
Welcome there, Badger. How are you?
Oh, I am spiffing, sire, in this wonderful.
Spiffing it.
Yes. I'm going upper class. I'm going upper class for someone that lives in the slums. Yes. Because the woods of Evergreen is a very graceful place where the trees are all named specifically after games that we like.
Treebeard.
I don't remember. No, there's the Catan tree there, and over here we see the Survive Escape from Atlantis tree, and over there is the Axis and Allies tree, which looks beautiful.
Oh, that's right. We named the trees after the games. I forgot.
There you go. I'm glad to have a purpose in this earth.
Well, and that's what we're doing with this short, abbreviated little segment from Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble. Just babbling about some stuff that we think is kind of interesting from days gone by. And we want to put out a caveat. Of course, these are games that we think that we've played. There are so many games out there that we haven't played them all. We don't own them all. And especially for me, Badger's been around a little longer than I have and has done a lot more in the area of board game reviewing than I have. But my game collecting and purchasing really started at an advanced level where I acquired the acquisition disorder. That happened in 2012 for me. And I started acquiring all kinds of games. Well, I'm watching everybody's top 100 list and top 50 lists and all that. And they were talking about some of these games that we're going to talk about that were from days gone by. And but of course, because it was a little later for me, I wasn't acquiring a lot of these older games. How about you, Barry?
I kind of was in the cult of the new at the time. Very rarely was I going back and buying old games. There was the occasion when it was like, I was in the game store and I go, oh, I want this game because it's brand new. And I want this game because it's brand new. And it's like, oh, I need to make up to 100 euros. And then I get like a 5% discount. Right. So it was like, look around and look for an older game which had the seal of approval from the Spiel. And then I'd pick that up and that would wander home with me as well. But no, I wasn't actively looking out for older titles. I was always into the new titles, which I've just seen been reviewed and looked cooler than the older titles. Because that's what happened. The older titles just seemed to have lots of cubes. Whereas, a bit later on, the games were starting to come with figurine cubes. But they were cubes still. But, hey-ho.
Well, I found that too, when I started, I remember the first trip that we went to Gen Con that I've talked about many times with my son, Josiah, and that we met Tom Vassell and I saw the bigness, if you will, of the board game hobby that I didn't realize existed. And a lot of people come into that experience, but I got so excited about just what I was seeing because I love board games. I had purchased board games for many years, but just not huge quantities. But I started seeing how much fun this was. And at that time, there was a lot of emerging board game reviewers. I used to listen, a lot to there was this guy named Barry Doublet that did board game reviews from France. I used to listen to them and they were very enjoyable. He doesn't really do them anymore. I don't know where he's gone, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then Tom Vassell, of course, I had just started. And these people were relatively new in the industry. Now they're old hat. But you take like Rodney Smith and some of these people, Chaz Marler, love listening to Chaz, and Dan King, the Game Boy geek, and Ryan Metzler was on the Dice Tower. And at that time, there was a lot of contributors at the Dice Tower, rolling dice and taking names. I love listening to these guys and the Secret Cabal, and I still do. But back then, I was consuming a lot of media. And I tell you what, when you consume a lot of media and they get excited about board games, you get excited about board games. And thus I acquired a lot of board games.
Yeah. We've all been down that rabbit hole. And there's probably people still stuck in that rabbit hole doing the same thing. But hopefully with these videos, we can make it a little bit easier for people with that
that's really the attempt to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what we think is good. And of course, it's not going to be extensive. And a lot of these games, honestly, for me, I feel inadequate sometimes because I have so many games and we don't get back a lot of these games back to the table. The games that I'm going to talk about today, I haven't played them for years. I still think highly of them, but I haven't played them a long time. So refreshing my memory on the game and all that kind of stuff is a little bit, feels odd to me that we're talking about them and I haven't played them recently. But nonetheless, we still feel that way about these games. So hopefully that's helpful in you researching the game and looking at it. So Barry, why don't you go ahead and start off with your game? And in fact, actually, you should tell us about the game. This is our second run at 2009. So you can let everyone know the games that we selected last time, and then we'll go into our new second round. Hey, Kabuki Kids here. Woohoo!
Hey, KK. Yeah. Sorry. I had a total brain freeze there. So our previous picks from 2009 were for Berkey, Small World, which actually turned into a big expansion world. Cyclades,
love it,
a fighting game, and a Dice Town, a dice rolling game. And for myself, I chose Tobago, a deduction game, a Resistance, a Hidden Traitor game, and then Dominion Intrigue, a more interesting version of Dominion. It's an expansion, but it's a base game as well.
Yeah, that's true. I almost added an expansion. I generally don't like to add an expansion when I talk about a game like this, but sometimes this expansion is so good and so necessary almost for the game that you only play it that way that I think it's relevant to talk about it. But
yeah.
All right, go ahead. Number one.
So number one is a game which I don't have in my hands. All right, and you may say I'm cheating, but I'm not cheating.
Cheater, pumpkin eater.
But we still have the game. It's upstairs in my son's room. Now, if I tried to sneak it out, he would see me and he would think that we were going to play it. He's been playing this quite a bit recently as well. And that game is called The Magic Labyrinth.
Oh.
This one's the Playroom edition. But obviously, I have the French edition. Now, the Magic Labyrinth is a family game for the younger kids where you basically split into two teams. There's one player who is the evil. No, that's the Magic Labyrinth. That's the wrong game. Oh, it's the Enchanted Tower. It wasn't until I saw the picture that I thought, oh, that's the wrong game.
And that's why we're the most professional podcast in the industry.
Wait a minute. Oh,
wait a minute.
We're going to need a Redux.
Wait a minute.
Yes, 2009 Magic Labyrinth. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, it is the right one.
I've been preparing to talk about the Enchanted Tower.
Oh, you confused yourself.
I did.
You confused yourself. That's wonderful.
So, yeah, the Magic Labyrinth. And I'm talking about the Enchanted Tower. What an idiot. The Magic Labyrinth. Again, both of these games are in my son's room. And he hasn't actually played this one recently. But the Enchanted Tower, he's been playing a lot with me and solo. But, yeah, this is a 4-player game, up to 4 players, where you build a labyrinth underneath a board. And this all sits inside the box. And so you have like these walls. And basically, you're going to place your character on the corner of this maze. And underneath, you've got a little hole to put a ball bearing underneath your playing piece. Okay, so there's a ball bearing on the bottom side of a board with your playing piece on top, obviously a magnet. And the ball bearing is going in and out this labyrinth. But as you can see on the game board, you can see it's like a bunch of squares.
Oh, sure.
And you're trying to get to an ingredient, and you'll pull an ingredient out the sack at random. So it might be a bat or it might be a flower. And so you've got to get to that space. You roll a dice, and it's either you move 2, 3, or 4 spaces. And so you move from square to square, and you can't see these invisible walls because they're underneath the board. So you're moving along from square to square, and every now and again, you may hear the ball bearing drop, and you'll feel your playing piece is not attached to the board. And that's when you know that you've walked into a wall. And so you have to memorize where these walls are, which you can't see, and draw out these paths as you go around the labyrinth, picking up these ingredients as they come. And it's basically a race to collect 4 ingredients before everybody else. But it's just done in this wonderful, wonderful way. It is magical. It's fantastic. It plays very, very quickly. Let's see if I can find a picture of it. There's these wooden pieces which are underneath. There's the in tray. There's the ball bearing, as you can see. And yeah.
Yeah, it kind of brings a fun type of dexterity element to it almost.
Yeah, it's
more
memory.
mechanical, but yeah.
Yeah. And as I said, the maze is underneath, and you can make the maze more complicated, or you can remove some pieces. So you play with like 10 pieces, or you can play with 22 pieces and create these really intricate routes. So it's adaptable and it's fun. It's a wonderful game, which we still have and we still play to this day. The Magic Labyrinth.
Did I see that it had an award there?
Yeah, it's got a Kinderspiel.
The Kinderspiel.
Yeah, for 2009.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
All right, the Magic Labyrinth. Well, I'm going to go with the game, and this is one of actually the first games that I purchased at a game convention. I bought this at Gen Con the first year that I went to Gen Con. And this is back in the day when Mayfair Games had this huge setup in Gen Con. They had all of these demos of being played in this huge area. Of course, Settlers of Catan was one of their big titles, but they've got so many other titles. Well, this game, they had a special where if you went and you got a whole bunch of ribbons for wood and sheep and brick and all that kind of stuff. You got all these ribbons. You were able to get a coupon for a sale where you buy one game, you get one for 50% off or something like that. Well, the games that I bought that year, which are now 2 of our favorite games. This game I haven't played as much lately, so it actually, after when I started going through the list of 2009, I go, I got to play this game again because I remember how much we enjoyed it. But Pillars of the Earth is one of my favorite games from Mayfair Games. The game that I'm talking about now that was produced in 2009 was the sequel by Ken Follett called World Without End. It still has this amazing Michael Munzel artwork. Okay, super cool. It's got that old world look in cathedrals, and basically this game main mechanism and random production of different goods that you're getting. You know, your wood and your stone, very similar to Pillars of the Earth. But there was different mechanism at the very top of the board. There's this card that you put. It's a square card, and you can see the triangle at the top of the board here that he's showing you. This card sits there, but every round it flips, and so different actions come with it, and it changes up the game and what you're doing to collect these resources, and there's different ways you can get buildings, and you're doing trading. There's a religion track, there's feeding, there's medical knowledge, and you get victory points by collecting all of these, creating these buildings or taking care of sick people. and moving up these tracks, and you're collecting all these resources. And it has that similar feel and vibe, but different mechanisms where it's just different enough where it creates a different puzzle, if you will, of how you're going about those victory points. Really enjoy this game. Pillars of the Earth from Mayfair Games. I did see that there was a few of them available, some internationally, not horribly priced. I'm surprised, actually. I saw one in the US that's being sold for $40. Noble Knight Games had it for $74. I think this is totally out of print, so kind of a hard game to find. But this game had the 2010 Spiel des Jahres Special Prize Game of the Year Plus winner. It was the Spiel des Spiel Hit mit Fruden recommended, whatever that means. It had that. It has a whole bunch of actually different awards. There's awards. It took third place as a strategy game for the Deutscher Spiel. Anyway, there's a lot of fondness for Pillars of the Earth. Many people think that's an all-time top classic game. This falls in line with that. I still think Pillars of the Earth is probably my favorite worker placement game, but this is really cool. World Without End.
Cool. Sponsor break or number 2?
The Kaburki Kids made a comment and said, board game art is almost too busy, easy to see the spots clearly. Yeah, when you actually see the game, it does have kind of a neutral palette, the whole thing. But when you're actually playing the game, I think you're able to pick out the spots fairly easy. But that's you said apart from keeping the rules, yeah. That's the hard part, is all these games that have been older that you haven't revisited for a while, refreshing your memory. For a while, I thought I was losing my mind, but then I find all kinds of board gamers have the same tension of not being able to remember all the details of all these games.
Yeah, I was just talking to Dim Douglas. He put in the chat that his child actually beats him at playing the Magic Labyrinth because he says his memory is getting a little old. It's not what it used to be. And I told him that, oh yes, that's a wonderful thing when the kid can actually beat you without even you trying to lose. And he said, yeah, kids are great at that. Like, kids are good at memory games. But I also put no, they sometimes have trouble remembering the rules. As mine does.
We can do a quick break. We have our sponsor, Arcane Wonders, and Arcane Wonders is doing a lot of cool stuff. But the new game that Barry has done a full review on is available, called Dice Manor. And Barry actually has a full video of that particular game. This is dice placement type of game. What do you wait?
I haven't done the video yet. I haven't done.
Oh, yeah, you have.
I did a video with you.
No, you did a review video of it, didn't you?
No.
Well, I thought for sure you did.
False advertising.
Okay, well, you got to do a video.
I have to. Yes, it was planned for this week, but yeah, it's on hold.
So you did the video Foundations Rome, but I thought you did the Dice Manor video. You just talked about it.
No, I've talked about it on this show. So I have reviewed it in episode blah, blah, blah. I think it was.
We don't know when we talked about it. Yes. We don't know what we're talking about.
Yes.
That's accurate.
Dice Manor. Yes.
Well, I got super excited about it when Barry was talking about it because it feels like it's right in my wheelhouse of games. It takes a lot of the feel from the classic game Dice Vegas Showdown, which I really liked. And I love what Arcane Wonders does with their games. They always vet their games really well. And the production is always really decent too. And this has been available in Europe, but it hasn't been available in the United States. And now it is. They're just getting out to distribution. So you can see it. It's not a horribly expensive game. You know, Arcane Wonders has it on their site for $44.99. As I understand it, that's going to be readily available now. Super excited about getting this. Go ahead and take a look at it. I think there's only a very limited amount of time, maybe one more month, where you can still late pledge for Foundations of Rome, the expansive production. And then it's going to probably be a while where you're going to have a hard time getting that game. And that game is fantastic. Highly recommend Foundations of Rome, one in my top 10 of all time. A lot of other people, Dan King has an amazing video of that. Barry does have a video of Foundations of Rome.
Well, I do indeed. See, and I've seen it mentioned in quite a few top 10 games of 2022. So
I saw that too. Tantrum House, several of the people had mentioned it. The Dice Tower, of course, it's a Dice Tower essential game, but there were several different contributors to the Dice Tower that had mentioned it. Dan King, it was his #1 game of the year, as well as it was my #1 game of the year. So Dan is correct. And that means
and me and John Perkis are incorrect because we both put it as #2.
Yeah, that's incorrect. So with that, check out arcanewonders.com. Barry, what's your #2?
My #2 I have here. Oh, you can see them. I put them too close. Let's start with this other family title called Castle Panic, a co-op game. Yes. You've played this?
Yes. I played the Star Trek version also.
Yeah, that's one I did want, and it slipped off my list for some reason. I don't know why. But yes, this is a co-op game where you're trying to save your castle, which is in the middle of the board, from these approaching orcs, goblins, and generals and other creatures as they kind of tower attack your tower defense. Yeah, it's a tower defense game, basically. Done with cards. You'll draw a handful of cards. You'll play as many as you can, and each card will either hit an enemy in a particular zone, distance, and color. So you have distance and color. It's like a dartboard. And you just basically keep going around the table to that. You play your turn. Afterwards, all the monsters move a bit closer. Some of the monsters have different powers. So some may advance a bit quicker. There's some... I might be mixing things up a bit because we always play with the expansion. So remembering what's in the base game and the expansion, is a little bit hard. But this game is fun. It's got to a point where every time we play, we win. So it's kind of losing its edge a bit that way. But hopefully with Robin now growing up, we're going to get this out with him and see if he can help us win. It's quick, it's light. I definitely recommend getting it with the expansion, but it's definitely a good family fun game, which is easy to get into because it is simply just playing some cards and hitting the things in the zones where the cards tell you to hit them. There's a few special powers. And as I said, there's a few special monsters which do things a bit differently.
Yeah, it's a fun game. And I'm generally not a big co-op person, but I like that game. That was fun.
Yeah. And there's a new edition now as well. So you got this old art. There's this new fancy, cool art version, which is out now as well. So it's a game that you can still get.
Okay, cool. Well, my second game has been reprinted even, and it comes from one of the publishers that I really like and one of the designers that I really like, and he lives in Europe. He lives in Poland, and this man's name is Ignacy Cevicek. And I've gotten to be good friends with Ignacy and their family. I've met them many times and talked with them. They have our game topper in their studio over in Poland too, which is kind of cool. But this game is called Stronghold. And this here, staying in the theme of castle defense. Now, this game was initially designed by Ignacy, but it was published by cooperation with Yellow Games and something else, I forget. But then they were able to get the rights for the publishing back, and they did an upgraded version of it. I don't remember exactly where it is. I have the upgraded version. It's amazing. The component quality of this game is really great. You've got all these different orcs and elves, and there's siege weaponry, and you need to kind of move these guys around, but you're going to take some damage, and so you're going to have to replenish. So there's a mechanism there where you're getting extra troops kind of in this holding area, and then you're getting them back up there. But sometimes you got to move to the other side of the walls and get some people over there, because they might start attacking, and it's this increasing horde of enemies that are besieging the castle. And so it's this back and forth pull that's going on with you trying to defend your castle, or you're trying to find a hole in the wall and get in there and get after it. I think it's really a brilliant game. It was in 2010, it was the Gra Roku Game of the Year nominee. In 2010, it was the Golden Geek Best War Game nominee. In 2010, it had the International Gamers Award for the Best Two-Player Strategy Game. I would say that it's not super easy to get to the table. I mean, there's a fair amount of rules. There's a lot of little bits to put on the table and to go through all of that. And I think it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it's not like it's super long, but it's really a two-player game. I think they actually say that it's a 2 to 4 player. There's a way you can play 2 to 4 players where you can actually have two teams. It's a 2-player game, but it's really, really fun. And if you like fantasy with orcs and goblins and trolls and elves and all that kind of stuff, I just think it's a really cool game. Board Game Geek rates the weight at 3.67. So it's up there a little bit compared to just, it's not Castle Panic, which is really simple and easy to get to the table.
Yeah. And what's that rating out of? 20?
Out of 5.
Out of 5. There you go.
Yeah. So
just for those of you who don't go to
scale.
Yeah. If you don't go to Board Game Geek, you don't know. But
their overall rating is 7.1 out of 10, which is pretty good too. So I see, Kaz is here. How you doing, brother?
He's doing well. He's got a question for you.
Even though I can't see you. He's got a question?
He's wondering how Stronghold stacks up after the Empire.
Oh, they're just two totally different games. I love After the Empire. I feel like after the Empire, you have a lot more player abilities and management of resources to build things. And while you do have that attacking that's going on every turn, in Stronghold, the tension of the game just keeps ramping up because of these hordes that continue to increase. And so the strategy of where you place your things and where you're going to maneuver your resources, I think is it's a more intense puzzle with Stronghold, I think. So big beards unite. Kaz has got this glorious big black beard. He could be Blackbeard.
He could be Blackbeard. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be.
All right. Well, that's my number 2. So your number. Now we're moving on to our next sponsor, I guess. Who's our next sponsor? Some guy that makes board game tables. Game Toppers. Oh, that's it. Yeah, this. Game Toppers. Okay, so we're super excited to announce that all of the fulfillment in Europe has been done. They have sent all the product out. Australia is just getting their stuff now. The United Kingdom, Games Quest just received the pallets, and they're going out to all the backers in the United Kingdom, Canada, United States. Fantastic responses from everybody. People are just loving the Game Topper system. And now with our dining covers, leg kits, people are just have went nuts over all of that. We're sold out of the first container of dining covers just like that. We just got a replacement shipment in. And we are doing a ton of new things that are coming up in our next Kickstarter. We have new mats, new accessories, new innovations. We're super excited to be doing these things, and we are working really hard on getting all those things done. But you can still take advantage of some package deals. If you go to the shop.gametoppersllc.com, you'll see package deals. You click on that link and you're going to find some special pricing on the Game Toppers with the storage bag, the mat, the cup holder accessories, our new collapsible cup holders. And then there's a ton of different add-ons that you can take advantage of. And what's awesome about all of the system that we have at Game Toppers, most of all of this product is in stock right now, but it's going fast. And it's going to be a while before we go back to our next big production run of aluminum. So if you want to get a Game Topper and have it shipped within 2 business days, contact us at gametoppersllc.com or shop.gametoppersllc.com, and you can take advantage of all the fun that so many people have enjoyed using the Game Topper system. And with that, Barry, why don't you move on to your third game?
Okay, my third game for 2009 is this wonderful party game called Esquisse. Or,
Esquisse.
Esquisse. Excuse me.
Esquisse. Oh, excuse me.
Do you recognize it? No.
No.
It's Telestrations.
Oh.
The French edition.
In French.
So in Telestrations is basically a Chinese whispers game where one player every player will have a word. Basically, you'll write it down on the first page of your little notebook, and then you will turn over and draw that word, and then pass your notebook to the player on your left. And then the player on your left will look at your picture, not your word on the first page, and they will write down the word of that picture. And then they will close the book and pass it to their player on the left, who will open it, look at that word on page 3 and draw on page 4, etc., etc. 8 players. This game is a blast, as it's just fun seeing how words can be transformed by images back into words, into images. And you can kind of like see this progression at the end from where someone has this word like elephant and it ends up being kettle for some reason, whether it's a case of someone misspelling the word elephant or whether it be a case of someone thinking, oh, it looks like a kettle. Yeah. But yes, it's hours of fun. Well, it's not hours of fun. It's an hour of fun as you play, and you don't really score. You just keep doing it. But it's easy. It's easy access to anybody. So even at your Christmas parties with your family members that don't play games, they will play this. And even with those people that don't like drawing and hate drawing and say that they're bad drawers, they will have fun playing this as their bad drawings are transformed into something completely unrelated to the subject. So yeah, mine is Telestrations. Kabuki says Telestrations is eternally funny. I have yet to meet a group that keeps a proper score when playing this. It is just fun to play, and the absurd results and belly laughs. There you go. Yes. Bad drawings only make it more fun. Yes, they do indeed.
Yeah, I haven't played that in a long time, but we've always had a good time when we did play it.
Yay. Yay. Hilarious, says Kaz. It is.
So,
what is yours?
Well, number 3 for me, I think this is one of my favorite worker placement category games that I would put it in that category. And I actually have the 10th anniversary of this bad boy.
Oh,
Carson City.
There it is.
It's a lot of rootin' tootin' fun.
You're a cowboy.
Now listen here, bureaucrat. I wouldn't push it. I got a touch of the hangover.
Already. Must be 1 o'clock in the afternoon for you.
Well, listen here, Pilgrim. Little sister. I don't
Get
think
off
you
your
have
horse
$50.
Get off your horse and drink your milk.
Yeah, this is John Wayne at his best with jumping into a Western classic theme game with all kinds of cool meeples. Well, I have the upgraded version. It's got dice, and you get to place these dice different places. You're building buildings in the Old West that give you different abilities and different victory points. And there's a little bit of a race to get to certain buildings. You're hiring all your your posse, if you will, or your cowboys. It gives you more workers. You're getting out there. You're buying stuff. You're going to earn victory points for these hired help and all of these buildings, and they're going to combine. So you can get really clever with combining some of these different buildings with different abilities on the board. There's variable player power in the game. There's tile placement. And there's a little bit of area control majority that's going on in the game. I have the 10th anniversary edition, which has all the upgraded meeples and coins. These coins from the 10th anniversary are my favorite coins. They look like little old bills. They're more rectangle. Super cool. And I have a great big insert, a wooden insert from Daedalus for store, or no, it's actually Broken Token for all of the components. And so this box is one big chunk. I'm telling you, I haven't played this for a while. And every time we've played this game, and we've played it many, many times, always a blast. There was a game that came out called Deadwood from Fantasy Flight Games years ago. That was a worker placement Western themed game. I really liked it. And then when I got a hold of this one, I was just like, oh, this just scratches all of those itches. And with the exception of maybe Great Western Trail and Ante-Up, Western Legends are two of my favorite Western themed games. This would be right there in that group. Carson City. Yeah, Carson baby. City.
There you go.
3 to 5 players, 90 minutes, 3.19 weight. Designer Xavier Jorge. Artist Alexander Roche. Publisher Quind Games. There you go.
Best with 4 players. Yeah. Western Legends is my favorite Western game, says Kabuki.
Yeah, I love Western Legends.
Yeah.
I got the new Ante-Up expansion, but I haven't played it. Yeah, hate that.
Kabuki also points out a game from her collection, which is a 2009 Evergreen, which is, oh God, I just noticed it's marked Evergreen.
I have that game and I've never played it. I do. I've got it. It's a small game. Barry we were gonna play it. Isn't that a 3-player game?
I do not know.
Kabuki, is that a 3-player game?
Gee,
I think it is. I might be wrong. He really liked it, and we were going to play it, and then we never did, and there it sits.
Yeah. Life is like that.
Oh,
Life
it's 2-player.
Like...
On my shelf of shame.
Oh,
yes.
No.
It is shameful. It is sitting right there. And it's small, so it's out of the... I've got a different version than that one, but...
Yeah.
So it must be an updated version. Whoops, I keep hitting my camera. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Give it a try.
Yeah, give that a
simple.
try.
Tim says give it a try. Yeah, I've got the new Vincent Dutrait art. Oh, Vincent Dutrait.
Oh, it's not a game without Vincent
I had a very nice Zoom call with Vincent Dutrait. And Vincent Dutrait is in France right now, but he lives in Korea.
Yeah.
Yes, he's taking care of his parents for a little bit. And then he's going back, but he's working on some projects for Game Toppers. It's going to be very, very happy.
Oh, no. That means I got to buy some more mats. I've already got 7.
Everybody needs more mats. You can go to GameToppersLLC.com, and you can take advantage of all the great new games from Arcane Wonders at ArcaneWonders.com.
Yeah.
And with that, next week we want to make an announcement. I'm super excited about this. But on February 15th, wait for it. January 15th,
February 15th.
all new. February 15th. Don't say it wrong. February 15th. Very special Berkey and Badger board game babble show. We have special guest, professional comedian Grant Lyon on the show. Woohoo! We're going to talk about humor and board games. It's going to be awesome. Tune in Wednesday, February 15th, noon as usual.
Yeah.
Where can they find us now?
Where can they find us? They can find us on the Board Game Geek with our Guild 2248, or they can find us on your website, which is at theboardgametheater.com. And they can find us on my board game site, which is boardgameseverybodyshould.com, but only for a short period. It is going down under. But you can always go to YouTube. There's YouTube. Yes. There's Berkey and Badger on YouTube. And then there's Board Games Everybody Should on YouTube as well.
And Berkey and Badger's on Twitter. Just type in Berkey and Badger.
Yep.
Facebook, and Berkey and Badger Board Game Babble show.
Yep. And then, yeah, that's it.
And everywhere else, you just type it in. You go to any Google and type
and
in.
And then on HBO Max at 9:30.
And our new Netflix special.
Yeah,
our new Netflix special and the Amazon Prime special. You got to go big. Go
but
big.
It's after hours on Amazon. It's after hours. You can't watch it.
It's late night. You know, it's right before the lines come on the TV. But it's all right. And it's only a 30-second show, but it's good. Really good.
Really good.
All right.
Oh, dude.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. It's always fun to talk about board games with my good friend Barry. And to see all of you here is always so encouraging and so fun to interact with you. And I know a lot of people listen to this show on iTunes and on Stitcher Radio and other podcasting format after we produce this as an audio podcast, which gets
but you should be watching it live, and then we can mention your name live on the show.
We'll mention your name
in the podcast, so we can say hello, Kaz, hello, Kabuki, hello, Tim Douglas.
And they become famous.
Yeah,
they become famous. There's big fame. Minor internet superstars.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. That's what we make. Minor internet superstars.
Don't forget, in 10 hours' time, Lance Mikester will be on the show, on his show with Kabuki Kid. He should be there.
Oh, this Wednesday?
Well, yeah.
Tonight.
It's
always so late. I'm getting so old. I go to bed. I haven't been on the boom for a while. I might have to stop in.
Yeah. If I wake up early tomorrow, I will be stopping in. Say hello, Kabuki.
Well, we should just have Kabuki Kid on Berkey and Badger. She'll get more notoriety from us than being on that Alaboomy thing.
Yeah, but she's good at keeping score, and we don't do scores here. This is like Telestrations, the podcast, but where I write word incorrectly and then you draw crappily an image. It's just.
Goodbye, all.
We're getting old and senile and we're rambling, so not babbling. So thank you. Thanks for watching. See you around and have fun playing games. And write in the comments below your best games of 2009. We'll make a mention.
Yeah, there's a poll on the Guild at 2248 from our last show. There's a lot of comments on that about different things, about different board games from 2022. We'll catch you all later. Thanks again.
Thank you.
We're so glad we had this time together. Now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Berkey and Badger will be back in no time.
Time. Time in a bottle.